I think the interesting point that you're bringing up that not a lot of people make a connection to is that proceduralism has always been celebrated, right? It was this
Yeah.
idea that it has infinite possibilities within constraint, obviously, but very handmade and tailored and
Yes.
time consuming, right? Because these are possibilities, I would say, it's kind of like this what do you say, very controlled amount of
Yeah.
possibilities, right? It has to be thought out, it has to be planned, it has to be produced, right, by very traditional game development methods.
Yeah.
And this idea that proceduralism, if you really look at it, has always been laying the groundwork to what essentially is the ultimate idea, which is AI generated content, because you do want to be able to. I mean, I have this theory that all games are leading to the Matrix, right? Good or bad. But like it's this idea of being able to walk in the world and having a very unique experience compared to other players based on your own decisions. I mean, this is what dialogue trees have always been about in RPG. This is the idea of making your own character. You know, people have always kind of leaned in to wanting to personalize their character or player, their avatar, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like it's a very interesting connection that I don't think the community really talks about that much when we talk about AI. Like, is this in your
I think,
circle, in your
I
AI
think, to be
huddles, is
honest,
this a common
yeah.
thing? Yeah.
I think I couldn't agree more with sort of proceduralism laying the foundation for AI. I think to some extent it results from the specific technology that we've built at Atlas, if I'm honest, because we started building our tech pre-ChatGPT, pre-Midjourney, pre-Stable Diffusion. So we were looking at a world where we saw that exact problem with procedural design. You know, if you created a Gothic cathedral procedurally, and somebody tested that game and said this would be really cool if it was more of like a futuristic cathedral, it would be very, very difficult to make those changes. You would, because the procedural code is so inflexible at a certain point. It could do a lot of really cool variants of Gothic cathedrals, but it wouldn't be able to switch over to futurism because when you write procedural code, you kind of need to know the answer before you start writing it. You need to direct the code down a certain path. And so we started looking and thinking, well, what if AI could basically learn procedural rules and relationships out of these images? And so somebody could generate that Gothic cathedral with AI and then say, you know what, here's a couple of reference images of really futuristic buildings. I would like that to now enter your training data and your data set and try to learn those new rules that can build that type of geometry and those types of relationships. And so in the world that I operate in the world that sort of we've built at Atlas, our AI is very much an extension and sort of a new way of looking at procedural content creation, which is more generative in nature and more goal oriented towards more based around reference images from clients and gameplay constraints. But I do think that from that perspective, that's why I also see AI as this great tool that people can use to make really cool and creative experiences in the same way that when you have that perfect procedural generator, like Unreal has, a lot of really nice tools now around procedural content generation, the PCG tools, that you can do stuff that is really exciting, really cool, and you can do it really quickly.